application was either dismissed by the court on 24th November 2022, but the original main application is still pending in the court. Honorable Speaker, therefore, the ministry is actually working on this matter with the Attorney General and the Board of Management to safeguard and maintain the position that this particular school is a public school, and the land being occupied there is for public purpose and not for private purpose as such. So our position is clear on that we will still continue fighting this matter in court until the true position is maintained that this is run for public use and that this is a public school. So the 2,500 students are still going on in this particular school. It has not come to a time where, of course, we can say that there are any such eviction orders which can be able to take effect. And we are still maintaining that and fighting the matter in court. I so submit, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Proceed with the other questions. Give the answers to the responses.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The Kirinyaga issue is that Kirinyaga University is a public university that was just...
If possible, you can just summarize
thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, that's better. Kirinyaga University is a chartered public university since 2016, and the total number of staff at this particular university is 284, Honorable Speaker, and out of these 284, 69 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga County, whereas 215 are from other counties across the country. The total number of support staff is 48. Out of this, 30 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga, which represents 62.5%. The total number of clerical and administrative staff is 116, and out of this, 27 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga, and that represents 23.27%. The total number of academic staff is 120, and out of this, Honorable Speaker, 12 are from the local community, which again translates into 10%. I have shown a schedule, which a table there, which is indicating clearly on this particular distribution. The second part of the question, I would like to state that the University Act is very clear that the responsibility of employing any staff of a university is given to the University Council, and of course we are aware that the Constitution of Kenya, Article 232, provides that values and the principles of public service, particularly when it comes to matters recruitment, we must take into consideration the following factors. One is fair competition and merit as the basis of appointment and promotion. Again, it must be representative of Kenya's diverse communities, as well as affording adequate and equal opportunities for appointment, training, and advancement at all levels. So again, when you come to Section 7 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act, Honorable Speaker, it also reinforces these provisions of the Constitution, which clearly states that we must seek to represent the diversity of the people of Kenya in the employment of staff, and that no public establishment shall have more than 1/3 of its staff from the same ethnic community. So a university being a state corporation bound by all these public sector rules on recruitment and employment of staff, we are also ensuring that we comply as much as possible as this particular one is concerned. There is no given policy really apart from the rules that have been able to state, which states that employment must be of a fixed quota from the local community. But generally, the lower cadre, which is from grade 2 to grade 8, which comprises of the support staff and the junior administrative staff, they normally originate from the locality of the university. And this is not only for Kirinyaga University, but it's a pattern that we have all over other public universities. Particularly here, you can see that the lower staff, 62.5% originate from the local community, which is Kirinyaga County. The impact to the local community is the other set of the question. I would like to state that the local community is very important in the context that it is within that particular community that the university operates, and of course, it is that particular community which has to create a conducive environment for the university, and in particular, the security and the safety of the students, even as they go out of campus once after a while. We rely also on the local community, and therefore their support is very critical, Honorable Speaker. It is also, of course, very clear that universities provide employment opportunities, and in the cadre that I have said, the lower cadre, it is the local community that is able to benefit. And even when there are casual employment opportunities, the members of the local community, particularly when we are having any construction sites within universities, which, as you are aware, have been quite a number, and even university farms, we engage casual employees from the local community. As well, the universities also impact very positively on the local communities because they offer business opportunities such as accommodation, hostels for university students and staff, and also even the normal supplies to the university are also done by the communities. From the policy standpoint, Honorable Speaker, we always encourage universities to engage in research and also engage in community outreach, such that the findings of any research done can be of impact to the surrounding and the local community. If you go, for example, to the University of Dedan and Kimathi, you can see the kind of engagement they have done in matters coffee growing and the great impact that it has had on the surrounding communities. So in that particular question, I think we have covered all the areas. I would like to go to the other section also on Kirinyaga. Yeah, the other one, Honorable Speaker, is about what branch government has to establish a national polytechnic in Kirinyaga. And I would like to state that, as we are all aware, in 2016, the government came up with a policy of establishing at least one national polytechnic in every county, and this was really focusing on the constitutional principles of equity, regional balance, and devolution of services. Alongside this, there was also a sub-policy of establishing at least one TVET institution in each constituency in all our 290 constituencies. As of now, with effect from 2016, immediately there were parameters, there was a clear criteria given on what and which TVET institution would be able to qualify for a national polytechnic status. Among the criteria that we followed were that the acreage must be a minimum of 50 acres, and they must have a title for that, and that they must have accreditation from TVETA for the programs that they offer must be approved by TVETA, and that it must also be situated in a high potential area where there is demand for TVET courses. And also, of course, once we establish a national polytechnic, there must be a request from the local stakeholders for establishment of such a national polytechnic. For the case of Kirinyaga, Honorable Speaker, we have three TTIs. One is Kirinyaga Central, which is in Kirinyaga Central constituency, where we have only 93 trainees. The next one we have is in Mwea constituency, the Mwea TTI, which has 232 trainees. The third one we have is in India TTI, and it has only 593 trainees. And the one which is undergoing construction is the Gichugu TTI, which is 80% complete. And out of these 4, we have not as yet received any such application for resettlement, so that we can be able to undertake the necessary process that TVET undertakes in order for it to be known whether it qualifies for a national polytechnic or it doesn't. Last year, Honorable Speaker, the year 2023, apart from the 8 that were started way back in 2016, we did again establish 13 more national polytechnics. So in total, we have now, I think, 24 national polytechnics in 22 counties, and there are 25 counties which are yet to apply and have national polytechnics. As far as TTIs are concerned, we have 237 TTIs in our 237 constituencies. We have 52 to go, and in this particular financial year, we were able to get funds to construct 15. So after this financial year again, we will remain with 37, because progressively as we get funds, we want to build one in each and every constituency. Honorable Speaker, I also submit, sir.
Okay, let's get the other question from Senator Hedy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon to CS. Pleasure to have you here. My question, Mr. Speaker, is an assessment of what is going on with the CBC. And therefore, I'll start with asking the Minister about what progress has the government made in putting up necessary infrastructure, including classrooms, libraries, and laboratories in readiness for the enrollment of the first cohort of the competency-based curriculum, that is CBC, class to join grade 9. And could the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Speaker, confirm whether the progress aligns with the originally set timelines that we all know as a country, and how is the government actively promoting awareness of the CBC curriculum? And could also the Cabinet Secretary, in that clarification, help us understand whether the government undertakes consultations on curriculum review with other key stakeholders, and of interest for us, Mr. Speaker, would be parents, teachers, and publishers. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, if the Cabinet Secretary would be kind enough to also provide an update on the implementation of the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party on education reform, because that particular task force is had some very interesting timelines that we don't know that will be achieved before our children join grade 9. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. As you are aware, Honorable Senator Hedy, junior schools across the country currently have an enrollment of 2,279,052 runners in grades 7 and 8. Of course, as we know, in the old system of 844, we had classrooms in standard 7 and 8, which as of now, those ones have transitioned to senior school, which is our secondary schools. So as far as grade 7 and 8 are concerned, we don't have a problem as far as classrooms are concerned. The ministry has also done a needs assessment and determined that we have a shortage of 15,021 classrooms for those who will be transitioning into grade 9 next year, the year 2025. We have tabulated the number of classrooms we require countrywide as per county, and have attached the table there for members to be able to confirm. Honorable Speaker, the government has also taken proactive steps to ensure that the infrastructure requirement for 2025 is in place. And for that particular purpose, the government has been able to allocate a conditional grant of 3.39 billion to the National Government Constituent Development Fund, which is being distributed across the constituencies, of course, taking into consideration the needs assessment which we have done covering the entire country. The CDF, we have agreed, is also supposed to match this funding from their allocation, such that once we do one classroom using these funds, they will also be able to do another one classroom. Out of this, we expect that we should be able to do 6,000 integrated resource centers for our junior school. Additionally, we have engaged World Bank, Honorable Speaker, and we have an allocation of 9 billion, money which we are also using to ensure that we construct another 9,000 classrooms, which in total will make 15,000. So we are working hard this particular year in order to make sure that the necessary required infrastructural development in our schools is done in readiness for admission of the grade 9, which will be domiciled in the existing primary schools. And I want to emphasize on that point, because grade 9 will be in the existing primary schools. They are not going to senior school. Senior school, they will be able to go after grade 9. And promoting awareness, we have taken a lot of steps to ensure that we promote awareness on the CPC system through an inclusive and participatory process. One such process, Honorable Speaker, was undertaken way back in 2019, but before then, we know that we are undertaking our first implementation of CPC since 2017, where we have 2 years pre-primary, 6 years in primary, 3 years in junior school, 3 years in senior school, and 3 years in university. That is the kind of structure we have. And the implementation of this particular structure, Honorable Speaker, was based on sessional paper number 1 of 2019, which was a policy framework for reforming education and training for sustainable development in Kenya. The same sessional paper was presented in Parliament, the last Parliament. It was debated and approved, and it is on the basis of that particular policy paper, which was approved in Parliament, that we have that particular structure in place. We have also embraced various other methods in order to create awareness, such as public forums, press releases, circulars, and official statements to convey information on key issues in CPC, such as the domiciling of junior school, and also the guidelines for implementation of the junior school, we did have various public forums, and including the rationalization of the running areas, because we have been able to reduce the running areas as recommended by KICD in almost each and every level. The other state agencies which are very much involved in...
Honorable Chair, sorry for interrupting you, but I think Senator Andy seems like he's satisfied with your response. Yeah, so if you can summarize.
Yeah, thank you.
So that I can
Thank
give
you.
a few
The Presidential Working
some
Party...
2-3 minutes to ask the supplementary question.
Yeah, the Presidential Working Party, if I can summarize in this.
Senator Eddie, because the response is with you, if you are satisfied with the response from the CS, then we can save some minutes for the other senators. Are you? Yes, satisfied. So, Honorable CS, the Senator is happy with your response already.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to save you some time so that I can give a few senators to ask their supplementary question. Let me start with your senator for Kisii County.
Thank you, CS. Mr. Speaker, this is actually for me the first time that I have been in this house when the CS is giving an answer, and you know he comes from my county, so I'm happy to see him. CS, I wanted to ask you, because if you look at all the technical vocational training institutes which are actually under your ministry, they seem to be having a problem, and that is most of these TVETs are being managed and run by the county governments, and yet there is supposed to be an interface between them and whatever that the county governments are doing. The question I wanted to bring on forth to you is that you know that primary schools are given bursary fundings, secondary schools and even university students, and the problem is that students who go to technical vocational training institutes are actually supposed to be getting bursaries, but we do not have those lists. I, as a senator of Kisii County, Waziri, I don't know whether I should expect the county government to pay their fees, or their bursaries, or whether it is your ministry that is supposed to do that. Number two.
I have only one supplementary question.
Just one more, sir.
Senator Mofaya asked a question that skipped in my mind. That
just one more. It won't even take 20 seconds.
Please.
The question, the last one I would ask is the way you have given conditional grants to CDF, and this is money that is going into CDF construction projects in primary schools and secondary schools. What I would like the CS is, are you also considering the possibility that we can actually avail funds for the technical vocational training institutes which are under county government, so that they can also get conditional grants, because some of these TVETs don't even have furniture, they don't have any equipment, so that then they can be useful pertaining to their relationship with the KK government's policy and agenda of introducing industrial parks, because I believe the children from the technical vocational training institutes are the ones who should be recruited from the technical vocational institutes, so that they can go and work in the industrial parks, because the two are related. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Before you answer, Senator Mofaya, Mwenda Kataya, ask your question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am seeking to know from the minister whether the county cabinet secretary stated when the government will distribute 9 billion allocated to Kamotwandu Primary School in Gatunga Ward in the Rakaniri County for infrastructure and development, being the balance of 10 billion, which was allocated to the school in the financial year 2019-2020. At the same time, Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary could he explain the reason for the delay in the disbursement of the 9 billion to the school, because it has taken quite a lot of time before this money was distributed to the school.
Answer the 2 questions.
Yeah, thank you, the Honorable Speaker, sir. To start with the question from the Honorable Senator from my county, Kisii, is that we have 2 categories here. One that is under national government, which is technical training institutes, which are under national government, which I said the government policy is to ensure that we establish one in each and every constituency, and up to now, we have 238 so far established. We have 52 to go, and this particular financial year, we have a budgetary allocation to do 15 of them, and therefore we will be able to remain with 37. And out of this, it is government which provides funds, like for each of the 15, we have been provided with 52 million, and the constituencies are also supposed to give 10 million, such that the total cost of each and every one of them will be 62 million, not more than that. For these ones, again, the students going into these particular colleges, the government gives capitation. Based on the numbers, based on the enrollment, we give capitation to the students joining these particular TTI colleges. And again, even the students also enjoy getting loans from Higher Loans Education Board. They also enjoy special grants which the government gives. For vocational training centers, which is clearly spelled out in our Constitution, Schedule 4, which of course separates functions of national government from county government. This is the preserve and responsibility of our county governments. And before 2021, Honorable Speaker, national government, as you are aware, used to give a conditional grant to the counties for purposes of these vocational training centers to cater for equipment in these particular vocational training centers, but following arguments and I think consideration between the national government and the county governments requested for conversion of this conditional grant of 2 billion to an equalization fund. Ever since that time, unfortunately, the money is given out by national government as equalization fund, and it is not used purposely and strictly for purposes of vocational training centers, and some of them are in a pathetic situation. We had in a discussion with the county governments through the Committee of Education, Governor's Committee on Education and the Ministry of Education, what we can be able to do in order to have these particular vocational training centers serve the purpose for which they were intended to serve, because if we also don't get it right here, the kind of technical staff, skilled people with the kind of competencies we require at that particular level, it will be quite a challenge. So we are aware of the problem with the vocational training centers. We don't extend any capitation from national government to these ones because it is the county governments which are supposed to be responsible. So there is that problem which we will hopefully be able to sort out in the near future. The question from the senator from Tharaka Nithi about the primary school, yes, I'm aware, and I'm sorry that this was brought to my notice. We did not have it actually in the schedule of those that were pending, because we would have done something, but I've seen it has been pending since 2019, 2020. It is only in the year 2020-2021 financial year that an allocation of 1 million was made to this particular primary school, and therefore there is a balance of 9 million. And what I have, Honorable Speaker, as of now, to be able to give to the entire country, and of course we must make sure that the money is equitably spread to all the schools in all the countries, all the counties in Kenya, is only 102 million to give to the various areas, because I must ensure that there is equity, and each and every county within the country, the 47 counties must be covered. So I have allocated you, because you can see the amount we have, the resources have been limited. So progressively we will be allocating depending on what we have. And the Honorable Speaker, this year I will have allocated 2 million to go to that particular school. And my good friend from Tharaka Nithi, by next week, if you pass through my office, you will be able to get confirmation that the money has actually been deposited in the school account. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Okay. Chair Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have, and I beg that you allow me to kindly ask Chair Education to place 2 questions to the CS. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The first question relates to what Senator Eddy has asked, and this is about preparation, Mr. Speaker, on the admission to grade 9, which the CS has handled very well. But my question to the CS is, what arrangements are there, even as we gear towards 2026, when we are going to admit the first lot in senior secondary school, that is grade 10. And why I ask this, or most specifically, for the CS to let the House know, Mr. Speaker, because we know that there are going to be 3 pathways in secondary schools as we know them today. There'll be STEM, there'll be arts and sports, and there'll be, if I'm not wrong, languages and business. So the clarification that I'm seeking, Mr. Speaker, is will we have specific schools offering specific pathways, or all schools at grade 10 will offer all the 3 pathways? That is my first question, Mr. Speaker. Number 2, and which concerns me as Chair Education, because people keep calling us, is from, I think, from an appearance by the PS Basic Education at the National Assembly, where he said that government or the ministry is being forced to reduce capitation to secondary school students, which has stood at over 22,000 some hundreds, Mr. Speaker. And now the PS reported that because of the growing numbers of students in secondary schools, that the ministry has been forced to reduce these to 17,000 Kenya shillings for every student. So my question then would be, because we know that the allocation to the Ministry of Education actually was the highest this year, that is budgetary allocation, are there no internal mechanisms of seeing to it that we allocate more to capitation from whatever has been allocated, so that students continue receiving the 22,000 Kenya shillings, if not more? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Let's get another question from Senator Oburu. Oburu Ondinga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I don't admire the CS in the position in which he is, because it is a very, very hot seat, Mr. Speaker. And I have 2 very quick questions, Mr. Speaker.
And because of time, more sensitive.
Mr. Speaker, on the Visa Oswald question brought by Honorable Sifuna, it appears the ministry has been losing successive cases to the Visa Oswald community, one after another. And now they have even gone to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court referred them to some environmental courts, and Mr. Speaker, they have lost again. Mr. Speaker, why put the 2,000 students in jeopardy? Why does the ministry consider, if you can't defeat them, join them? Why can't you consider, because that trustee is not individual, it is not private, it is for the community, that community called the Oswald community. Why don't you negotiate with them so that the school is managed by the public, by the ministry, in perpetuity, and they continue to be there calling themselves trustees and the students are not jeopardized. Why don't you consider that option? Because we know schools where that happens, Mr. Speaker. If you allow me, Mr. Speaker, just on another question altogether, on the one of polytechnic, of TTCs.
It's a direct question. So
yeah, direct, Mr. Speaker. This is a direct question. What kind of representation do you have? Why do you keep on losing cases? Because I have a TTC in my own constituency, Bondo, where it was so clear I'm the one who paid for land, 10 acres for that TTC, and it was lost. They lost the case. What kind of representation do you really have legally for yourself? Why do you keep on losing such cases? And how many faculties are supposed to be in a TTC or a TTI? You call it TTI. In a TTI, how many faculties are you supposed to have? Because that one we have was supposed to have 5, and we only have building and civil engineering only. The others, like the others which were to be there, are not mechanical, electrical, and all the others. There was supposed to be 5, and none of them is there. How many are supposed to be there in a TTI?
Senator Chute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine will be a very quick one. Under Article 43(1)(f) says that every person has the right to education. In Marsabit County, North Or constituency, there is a problem amongst the Muslim community and the board of North Or school on wearing of hijab. Is the minister aware that that problem, which has occurred in North Or, if yes, how is he going to solve that problem? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Next is Senator Milaj. Yes. Milaj.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Could the CS provide the current status of the recognition of prior learning RPL program that is supposed to identify, assess, and certify skills that were learned in informal sector? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Azena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to also ask if the CS can tell the House if he's aware that several schools have been closed in Samburu County due to insecurity, and if there are any emergency funds that have been set by the his ministry to ensure that the schools in Samburu resume operation, and schools in other parts of the country where insecurity has led to closure of schools and displacements of students. Lastly, since the Minister of Roads is visiting Samburu on 22nd, I would also like to know that if the CS for Education has put among his plans a day to visit these affected areas in Samburu County to ascertain the level of displacement by insecurity of schools. Because, Mr. Speaker, about 5 schools and several ECDs are closed as we speak. Thank you.
Senator Ndamo. That's the last one, then you can answer.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, ningependa kupata majibu kwa Mheshimiwa Waziri wa Elimu kuhusiana na katiba ya Kenya, makala ya 189, ushirikiano kati ya serikali za ugatuzi na serikali ya taifa imeelezewa vile ambavyo wanaweza shirikiana. Mheshimiwa Spika, ratiba ya 4 sehemu ya 16 pia imegawa zile jukumu na serikali kuu na serikali ya ugatuzi. Ningependa kuelewa kutoka kwa waziri ni kwamba imekuwaje shule za sekondaria na pia shule za msingi kwa sasa zinajengwa na serikali za ugatuzi. Imekuwaje kuwa ya kwamba zile madarasa ya ECD ama ya kiwango kidogo ya chini sana hazijengwi kabisa na serikali za ugatuzi, na serikali kuu haisumbuliwi na jambo hilo? Ningependa sana kujua ni vipi kama wako na ushirikiano ambayo wameshirikiana kati ya serikali kuu na serikali ya ugatuzi, waweze kutueleza. Asante.
Thank you. In excesses of, because of time and the interest that I can see as this issue has generated, and the CS has some few minutes to answer the questions that you have asked, I would exercise standing under that 4-2-way to extend this sitting for another 15 minutes. And then by 1:15, we should rise to close this session. So, Senator Romenen, ask your question briefly and direct to the point.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to ask the CS whether the schools that were destroyed and devastated by the bandits in Turkana County have been constructed.
So, CS, you have various questions. You can just sum up your response to all of them.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. The first question is from the Senator from Muranga, who is again my chair of the Education Committee. I would like to assure the House that all the necessary preparations, Honorable Speaker, for senior school, which will commence with effect from 2026, are in top gear. One, we have been able to look at the aspect of infrastructural development, and according to our assessment, because it will be 3 years, and even the number of classrooms and the apparatus we have in a number of our existing secondary schools is quite adequate. So they will be able to accommodate all our needs as far as infrastructural development is concerned. Again, Honorable Speaker, you can be able to confirm that this administration, ever since 2022, we have been able to put in place very good arrangements for teacher recruitment. Up to now, we have been able to recruit 56,750 teachers, right from primary to junior school all the way to senior school. And in order for us to be able to prepare these particular teachers to be properly equipped in matters of junior school and even senior school, we have undertaken a retooling, particularly on areas of pedagogy. We are also worked on the curriculum, not only for primary and junior school, but the KICD is also making the necessary preparation such that when we come to 2026, we should be able to have the curriculum in place. As rightly said, we will have 3 pathways. One is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The other one is social sciences, commonly known as humanities. The other one is performing art, music, athletics. The purpose of having this, Honorable Speaker, is we are going to, like the years we went to school, you remember after Form 4, we used to have Form 5 and 6, where if you were good in sciences, or if you wanted to take a line in sciences, you were free to take that particular line, because we want to nurture talent. Not all of us can be talented in sciences, not all of us can be talented in humanities, and some of us are very good in athletics, in performing art, and we want to give and develop and nurture talent where it is identified that one is good in a certain area. We are kind of coming up with a plan, and we have come up with a sessional paper. The sessional paper will be discussed in the Parliament, but the many amendments that we have come up with emanating from the recommendations made by the Presidential Working Party. So it will have specific answers There might be areas where we will have pure STEM. There might be areas where we might have broad mixture. A school is undertaking humanities and also undertaking pure sciences. But I don't want to preempt that particular debate because I know the sessional paper, once it is discussed in Parliament, we should be able to specifically agree on which way to go. Concerning capitation, I think there was a question from the Honorable Senator of Kakamega, and in that particular question I've been able to indicate specifically where we are as far as matters capitation are concerned, and I want again to confirm that of course government is committed to this, because these are issues which are enshrined in the Constitution. Article 53(1)(b), we cannot run away from it. In basic, that is in primary and secondary, we will continue giving capitation. Of course, the amounts which are supposed to be given in primary is 1,420 per annum. In the junior school, we are supposed to give 15,040 per annum per year, and in senior school, we are supposed to give 22,240. But for the last 6 years, because of the reducing allocations, if you see what I've given in that answer, from the year 2017-2018, the amount given was not exactly 22,000. It was, I think, 21. Progressively, as years have moved on, like last financial year, the amount we were able to give was 17,000 per annum. And we are having discussions with National Treasury on this. The Cabinet has been able to direct accordingly, because allocations to education are based on real numbers. The enrollment of our students, whatever level they are, such that it is based on that we are supposed to get allocations. And I think we are putting up a good case, because we think once the National Treasury and the Parliament allocates adequate resources, meaning we restore the figures as given way back from 2018 at the 22,000 for senior school and these other amounts for junior school, then our schools should not be able to undergo the kind of challenges that we are undergoing now. That is where we are, but moving forward, we are hoping that things will be better than they have been there before. The question from the Honorable Senator Oburu Dinga about ruling cases, out of the 5 cases that we have had in court, Honorable Speaker, we were able to win 2 cases and we lost 3. You know, when you go to a court of law, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. So we are putting up a very, very serious fight, and we are hopeful because, you know, when the ministry is taken to court, we also prepare the necessary required documents, and it is the Attorney General, as it were, who represents us in this particular area. So we are hoping that we are not going to let it go. Engagement with the local community members, you know, this particular school, before government came in and said no, parents should not be able to give an amount of money, it used to operate in a way, public school, government is giving everything, but there were individuals charging money, kind of school fees. Ever since the time we stopped this, that is when the problem came about, because we said they should not be able to charge parents because it's a public school like another. So that's why you see now the fight where they want to gain control of the school, where then it will be able to operate like a private school kind of. And the faculties in the TTIs, it depends and varies from one TTI to another, but we are encouraging all our TTIs that particularly technical courses, building and civil engineering, electrical, all those automotive, mechatronics, and of course, there are a few other business courses which also you find business, design and fashion, hospitality, you will find some doing agriculture. So it varies from one TTI to another, but we are encouraging that each and every TTI must have at least a minimum of 5 such faculties, programs, and that is why the government this last financial year was able to employ 1,300 trainers. This year we are in the process of hiring another 2,000 trainers so that our TTIs can be well equipped as far as teaching and other equipment are concerned. We are also acquiring equipment this year, 71 of them, for 71 TTIs, such that they can also be able to have equipment in order to undertake all the required programs in any given TTI. I'm not aware about a case concerning Pondo, that again, we roasted that case. We have taken note of it, and I think we should be able to take it from there. Marsabit, I think the Honorable Senator knows that ever since my appointment, I've been in Marsabit 3 times. We have been able to engage with the local leaders very serious around matters education, and we have been able to agree on the way to go, including I was the chief guest in Marsabit during the Education Day, attended by including the local members of parliament and the governor, and I think what we agreed to do on matters education so that we are able to improve the quality and the performance, we will be able to cooperate in order for us to be able to do that. Samburu County, I'm aware there have been those cases, particularly Baringo and Turukana, and because of that, you are aware that we were able to give funds to Turukana schools. Honorable Senator can confirm. And
Just a minute, Honorable CS. What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, a very quick one. My question was about Notor on the issue of hijab wearing in Notor. There's a problem, and that is what
I would answer that one.
Thank you very much.
I would answer that one. So, Samburu, probably I require to know the specific names of schools which have been closed down because of acts of banditry, and in cooperation with my colleague in internal security, we should be able to work on that. And where we have been able to remedy the situation, like areas in Baringo and Turukana, we have taken steps of reopening those schools. So, Madam, I think we can engage so that you tell me the specific schools, and we see what mitigating factors we can be able to undertake in cooperation with other agencies in government, and any particular means of internal security, so that we have the schools reopened as soon as possible. Honorable Speaker, recognition for prior running, I'm happy to report this House that this is a policy which has been lying somewhere, but we have been able to take it up. We were able to engage public participation. We also took it to Cabinet. It was approved, and I'm rolling out that policy. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya will be the chief guest on Friday, and it will give an opportunity for many of our young people, because there are so many people who are qualified. They have the skills and the competencies of making anything, but they don't have certification. So we are also now on that, and we should be able to start giving that with effect from Friday when we are rolling out that particular policy. I'm aware about the Marsabit. I've had a meeting because there are schools which were established by Catholic. There has not been any problem for many years, because those schools have been there for almost 20 years, if not more, and the Senator knows there was no problem. We had an isolated incident last year in one school, and I think there was a recurrence of the same this particular year. We have directed the local community, the Bishop of Catholic.
Honorable says you shouldn't be concluding.
So we have directed the local community to engage,
Maybe you are left
and I
with
hope
the
they should be able to get an
Turkana
amicable solution in this. Finally, my friend and the neighbor from Narok is that yes, we are distinct two levels of government, but we complement each other. And that is why I said, particularly on matters of ECD, we issue policy on matters where the county thinks that they can be able to come in and support an educational institution such as a primary or a secondary school. We cannot say no, but as you know, it is mainly the members of parliament who are able to support us as far as infrastructure is concerned. So we really collaborate and assist each other.
Maybe
Thank you.
in 10 seconds you comment on Turkana schools.
Yeah, as I said, the Turkana schools, actually, we have been able to repute 5 schools. We gave 100 million to Turkana. The member of parliament is aware. I personally went to Turkana, and Honorable Speaker, I think some of those schools have been reopened.
Senator Romenen, you just confirm with the office, and also Senator Azena, you confirm with
Yes.
the CS
Thank
at
you.
his office.
Thank you.
So, Honorable CS, thank you very much for your time, for getting time to come to the Senate to answer the questions raised. And therefore, I want to release you so that we can conclude our business. Thank you so much indeed. There are questions which were directed to National Treasury, Lands, and Ministry of Interior. So those questions will be rescheduled maybe from next week.